Welcome to the Grow Fast podcast, where we talk with leading sales, marketing, and personal growth experts about how companies can accelerate sales, optimize marketing, and grow their businesses fast. Let's go. Hey, Aidan, how are you, man?
Doing well. I'm excited to chat.
Likewise. I've been watching some of your posts prior to this to recording this episode here, and I'm super excited because you've done like some tremendous things helping B2B companies with their brand identity and promoting their brand through the use of something that I haven't seen very often, and that's memes and skits. I think you have something like 26,000 followers yourself on LinkedIn, and you've worked with some major brands out there. I want to ask you a lot about, the memes, the skits, the different platforms, etc. But before we jump into that, if you wouldn't mind, could you just give us, the elevator pitch on your background and what you were doing and how exactly you got to what you're doing now?
Yeah. So when I was a freshman in college is when COVID hit. And so school was super easy, had tons of time on my hand. And I make this joke a lot, but there's only so much like beer you can drink and FIFA you can play. And so I was looking for other ways to like just do, I needed something to do. Right. So I started applying to startups, started working at very small startups, 10 people startups, 10 person startups. And they saw an 18, 19-year-old. They're like, run our socials. And I was like, okay.
Hey, have you heard of this thing called TikTok? You're the guy. You're the guy.
Yeah. They're like, they literally.
What's our TikTok strategy, man? Yeah. we want to buy 5 today.
Literally. And so I started just creating content across a bunch of different channels. This was right around the time of like GameStop and like crypto was like booming. And there was like this meme culture on social media that was really becoming mainstream.
Yeah. And
I parlayed that into a few different opportunities. All of the experience I had throughout college working was with content specifically. Mm-hmm. The types of content changed. And then before my senior year of college, I got hired full time at a startup. It was a B2B media company. I was put on a brand called the Marketing Millennials. They had 250,000 followers at the time. They were just launching a newsletter, and my role was to scale the audience on social and the newsletter. Mm-hmm. And so I used memes along with Daniel, who's the founder, to scale the audience. We grew it to over 1.1 million followers within 2 years. Left there and started No Boring Brands to do this a similar strategy that we did at the Marketing Millennials, but for software companies. And so since October 2024, I've been full-time creating humor-led content for some of the most complex industries that you'd never expect they'd be able to use humor to sell.
Give me an example of an industry that you'd never expect to be able to use humor to sell.
Do you know Palo Alto Networks?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, $100 billion cybersecurity company. We did a 3-month project with them last summer. And so like cybersecurity is a very serious business.
It's like, no laughing matter.
No, literally. And we made memes for them. They put it on their brand accounts on social across multiple channels.
So one of the things that I've struggled with is, I've been a business sales and marketing consultant, worked in sales leadership roles for many years. And, some of my clients have come to me and said, yeah, hey, we need a social strategy. What's our Facebook strategy? What's our Insta strategy? What's our TikTok strategy? And I've seriously always struggled to figure out how B2B organizations can really leverage those platforms other than for recruiting purposes, right? I mean, because then you're attracting a certain demographic, a certain, people, certain backgrounds that you want to bring into your hiring pool. Maybe let's start there. How does a company like Palo Alto Networks, how would they leverage something like Insta, TikTok, or YouTube or something like that?
Yeah. So for any client we work with, we first identify who are you targeting? And for them, if they're targeting, let's say it's a 55-year-old IT director who's managing a team at 80 and he's based in Iowa, he's probably not on TikTok. But and we identified that, they might be on Instagram or they might be on LinkedIn. And so we're only going to create content for channels where your ideal customer actually is.
Okay.
one thing, like this is kind of like mental framework, but like in let's say the 80s, like people at work would take a cigarette break, like, a couple times a day.
Yeah.
Now people do a similar thing, but it's not a cigarette break. It's a social media break. They go to the bathroom, scroll for a little bit.
Yeah. A couple hits of dopamine, they're like, all right, hey, I'm motivated. Let's go.
Yeah. It breaks the flow of the day, but everyone's scrolling, regardless if it's on Substack, if it's on YouTube, if it's on Twitter. So that's the way we approach it. But we don't create content on channels that like there's no opportunity to move the business forward.
Well, let's kind of drill down on that a bit. So give me some examples of how a company that's selling B2B has effectively leveraged, and let's just start with TikTok. Can you give me an example of that?
Yeah. So with most of our
clients, on the spot, man, but like this has been bothering me for years, man. It's like so go ahead.
Yeah. So we do everything like with our agency specifically. We make humor-led content. Everything is based around pain points. Yeah. So all the content we make is centered around the pain that our client's ideal customer is feeling without our client's product or service in their life.
Okay.
So instead of going out and approach like posting on TikTok, like, look at our newest feature. It can do this. It can do that. It can qualify leads, enrich leads, boom, boom, boom. We're going to make a skit. Like it's almost like peering into a corporate meeting where manager is speaking to an SDR about his insane cold email intros that are surprisingly working. And it attracts this audience of their ideal customer, and they're actually watching content from the brand. And we subtly weave in some sort of thought leadership and tie it back to our client. So for example, Apollo is one of our clients. And what we've been doing with them is have one of our creators record himself, and he's calling it cold call with me, where he's cold calling with funny names. So he'll be like, hello, this is Jake from State Farm. And it's like a supercut of funny names. Like one of them he used is like, this is Andy Byron from Tinder. Andy Byron's the astronomer CEO that got in trouble at the Coldplay concert.
Okay.
And then like we weave in something like, this is data gone bad with Zoom info. So that's Apollo's competitor. And we say data gone bad. So it's a little shot there. And at the end, we do some sort of like subtle cue to Apollo. Like, I forget the one we just used, but that's how we subtly weave in the brand. But our goal is like, how can we just make this brand interesting so that SDRs want to follow and watch Apollo, and Apollo stays top of mind. So for B2B brands, like, yes, everyone's like conversion focused and sales focused, but as an agency, we're locked in on like, how can we just win some mind share and stay top of mind?
Well, I like that. And I'm old school. I'm the guy that, if I was a smoker, would be doing the cigarette breaks back in the day. And so my mindset is kind of still in that era. And so, when I look at all of the unsuccessful attempts to use platforms like Insta, TikTok, et cetera, it's been what you talked about, where they would, this is, something about our company. We are a great place to work, or, hey, we've just released this thing with all these new features. And it's basically advertisement, right? I mean, and people get tired of that, and they're not going to like it, share it, do anything. But people do like humor. And they would easily, oh, this is funny, man. You got to share it, like it, whatever. And I get that. So that's cool. I want to get into your creative process in a second, because I think that's fascinating as well. But let's continue on through the different platforms. Which platforms, or does it really just depend on who the target audience is, and then you select the platform? I was going to ask which one is most effective, but does it matter, I guess, who that target ICP is?
Yeah, it does matter with the ICP, and then also circumstance. Like for Apollo, they got banned from LinkedIn. So like obviously we can't create content on LinkedIn. So we kind of have to pivot.
I didn't know that. So tell me that story. Is that because they were scraping data from LinkedIn?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure.
My name's Paul. It's between you all. I've signed so many disclaimers that, like, honestly, hey, Mark, can we edit that part out?
No, I really don't know. Like, if I had to guess, it's that. But so for them, we're posting on other channels. For one of our clients, Trainual, we've been posting on LinkedIn and Instagram since we started working with them. And it's really like, sitting down with them and they tell me, hey, our highest quality buyer from us is someone who is managing a construction site. And it's like, okay, are they going to be on TikTok? They might be. So we do post on TikTok. Our content doesn't go there. But like we identified Instagram, like these bros love to be on Instagram. Right. And so we've grown our audience to over 75,000 people within 2 years. And we're doing 5 to 15 million organic impressions each month on those channels. And now they book one demo per day from social media, and the cost per demo in B2B is high, and it more than pays for the retainer. So we really just get to the root of like building, like our ideal customer as an agency has their customer personas built out already. Yeah. So they hand that over to us. And just knowing like LinkedIn skews a little older. TikTok skews a little younger. Instagram is kind of that older Gen Z millennial. And yeah, I mean, it's really case by case, but
any work for YouTube?
YouTube?
Yeah.
We experiment with YouTube for all of our clients. That's a channel like transparently I'm trying to crack still. That's the hardest social media channel like to scale on. It's the most overhead intensive as well. The highest performing YouTubers have full production teams, and to skate by with an iPhone, that's like the only channel you can't really skate by with an iPhone on. But like LinkedIn, TikTok, especially Instagram, you don't need a production team. You don't need perfect lighting. YouTube is still like, it's almost like the linear television of social media content. Like high production is a competitive edge there. So awesome. We don't do too much on YouTube.
So awesome. And I want to continue to stay on the platforms for a second. Give me some platform by platform advice. You've got 26,000 followers on LinkedIn. I want to, get some juice in my followers. Like, how do I do that, man? How do I go from 6,000 followers to 20,000 followers? What are the three things that I need to do?
You can join an engagement pod, pay someone to like your content, boom, and you can scale quickly as crap.
Explain what that is, an engagement pod.
It's a group of people who have large accounts that will amplify your posts. Now, I would say that's the quickest way to scale, and that is not what I'd recommend to do. It's not what I did. What I would do is identify who you want following you. And you can set up automations. You can use tools like Dripify to connect with those people automatically. And you can slowly build your audience. Unlike every other platform where on Instagram, if you follow, like Mark, if I followed you on Instagram, you can accept the follow request. Doesn't mean you follow me back. On LinkedIn, if I connect with you, you accept the connection. That means now you're going to see my content in your feed as well. So you can build your audience on LinkedIn, unlike other platforms. So using tools like that, and then working back from who you want following you will give you content ideas. And I'm a maniac. I would say creating content every single day, posting content every single day. You're going to have tons of flops. Like I'm kind of in a rut right now on LinkedIn. My last 6 posts have all flopped. And that's just part of it. Right? Night,
hey, the Japanese, my Japanese karate teacher used to say 7 times down, 8 times up, man. So, it's like,
that's all that matters.
Stick with it, man.
I got to get a post up today. But yeah, there's all these growth hacks. Like you can listen to gurus to grow quicker. Like me as a business owner, the only thing I care about is this an asset for my business? Right. Are there people interested in my business and service through my content I'm creating? So that totally makes sense for LinkedIn. And,
what about TikTok? God, man, I'm dating myself all over the place. And Insta, like, are they, I'm assuming that's a little bit different. Like, as you said, like, just because you connect with somebody doesn't mean they're connected with you, but how's your strategy in terms of growing your audience there?
Yeah. So for both TikTok and Instagram, they're very similar platforms now. I would only spend time creating video content. Okay. And one of the biggest things you should be focused on is answering the question of why would someone follow me over the next guy in the feed? Having an insanely clear answer to that is vital.
Give me a couple example of answers that you've helped your customers come up with, like to answer that question. Why would they follow me? Because I'm funny. Because of what?
I mean, usually the answer for our clients is like, holy crap, like do these guys have a camera in my room? How do they know I'm experiencing this? Like it's this insanely deep level of understanding where we're calling out things that are happening in their ideal customer's day that everyone in that role knows happens, but no one said it out loud. So it's like
things that everybody knows but is afraid to say or discuss, man. That's awesome.
That's what comedy is. Comedy is truth. And it's just the truthful things that no one said out loud yet.
Right.
And so that's really how we get it done with our clients. Like Trainual, for an example, one of their competitors is this company called Scribe. And where Trainual has a humongous leg up is Scribe has pretty solid ads and they're pretty funny, but they have no organic presence. Trainual has funny ads and has a great organic presence. So Scribe, as soon as they turn that faucet off, which is like the budget for the paid side of things, they're getting nothing from social media. Trainual they can turn their ads off and they're still reaching 5 to 15 million people a month. And
just to clarify, because I'm again old school, so like in Google results, you get your paid, you get your organic, right? And I never thought about it in the terms of Insta or TikTok. You can also advertise on those platforms, but if you're creating this organic content, even though it's probably paid to get, you're paying for the production of it, it's organic and it stays there, right? That's what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah. And I view it as a 24/7 salesman. So the algorithm is always working, regardless of time zone, time and day. Like it is feeding your content to new people, your logos on that content, you're staying top of mind. It's like, it's way harder to get off the ground. Organic is. That's why like when we work with brands, we're like, and brands are like, we want to trial it. It's like, okay, our trial is 3 months. Like it takes 3 months to see what we know we can achieve. Versus paid, you just spend enough money on day one, you see like the results you want.
Yeah, but if you do go ahead and get those paid followers, because people will follow you from a paid campaign, right? Is there any kind of residual value to that?
Yeah, actually. So just piggybacking off of this Trainual example, when we started working together, they had about 20,000 followers, and they were all just followers from paid campaigns they ran. Okay. So when we started creating content, I believe their Instagram was reaching maybe like 50,000 people organically per month. Mainly because they had a decent sized audience just from the paid campaigns. So of course that helps. Like the hardest thing is to just get an account from 0 to 1, like just building any sort of momentum. And they had a little bit of momentum just via the paid side of things. So it does help for sure. And there's the credibility piece, like followers. Perceived size has size has a ton of impact on perceived credibility. So if there's a high follower account, like people immediately are going to like. Yeah.
And so, and let me ask you, I guess if you wanted to create a large presence, whether you're an individual or a company, to get that credibility, is it worth to just go ahead and throw down the cash, build your audience very, very quickly? And then people are like, oh man, they got 100,000 followers. I better jump on the bandwagon there.
I don't know if that is the blanket statement solution. If you're like, credibility is an important piece, but like it depends on how competitive your market is, what your competitors are doing in the market. Are they paying to play? Then if that's the case where your entire market is just paying to play, throwing cash, I would go the opposite route and just be like, we're going to be organic. That's how we differentiate. And your financial, if you just raised a Series B and it was $400 million and sure, you can spend $1 million a month for a year. Like, why not? Like that's a huge edge. Yeah. We're an organic agency primarily. So I would say organic, and everything, but it's complex, like nuanced.
Cool. So tell me a little bit about your creative process, because I mean, humor is awesome, but you can get in a lot of trouble these days. You got outrage culture and you got all kinds of, hidden landmines that you didn't even know was a landmine until, it's out there. And you could have 100,000 likes. And then one person says, that offends me. And then all of a sudden you're the bad brand. Yeah. So tell me about the process and how, and also how you make sure that you don't step on any hidden landmines.
Yeah. So we have 3 things that we avoid in all content. I also try my very best to avoid it in all the personal content. Not perfect. I've slipped up a few times, but we never talk about politics for any content we make for clients.
Okay.
We make no references to political figures or anything, as well as religion. And then we don't punch down on anyone who can't defend themselves in the moment. Right. So that's usually what triggers someone to be like, oh, look at this like jerk brand, like flexing their size and picking on the little guy. And that's how you get a group of people rallying against you, which you don't want. We also view like people being enraged at maybe the content or the moves that we make for our clients is okay and actually helps amplify your message if they're not people that would ever buy from you. Right. So like if there's a group of people that are pissed off at you and they'd never buy from you in the first place, that's kind of sick. That's what, like, I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan. Like that's what sports are about. You have the Steelers hate the Ravens, and that makes me more of a loyal Ravens fan. And the Steelers, the fact that they hate the Ravens and their fans hate the Ravens does not hurt the Ravens brand. It actually helps the Ravens brand. So for like brands, B2B brands, they can also leverage that a little bit.
I mean, if you could figure out an audience that is never going to buy from you, but is easily outraged, you could actually kind of, trigger them and use that. Like this is before your time. But do you remember a guy named Brian Bosworth?
Yes.
So I'm in Seattle, and Bosworth was an amazing linebacker in college, and I can't remember what his draft number was, but he was one of the first players drafted. Seahawks picked him up. We're like, he's awesome. And the guy was a little bit crazy, but he was an insane business person too. And he was talking all kinds of crap about Denver and John Elway, and he was going to do this and do that. And the Denver fans were just going crazy, man. And he ended up, they were selling these Boz Hader t-shirts in Denver. And, they sold like 10,000 of them or something like that. And then, 2 weeks later, he's on some national talk show, and he goes, that was my company selling the t-shirts.
That's genius. That's genius.
Yeah.
That is very smart. Like, and you got to be sly about it, because if people see that you're
intentionally triggering.
They're like, okay, these guys, like, they're not serious about their business. Then they're too worried about making people mad. But for our creative process, like, we're an agency, so we obviously service clients in a wide variety of industries, like cybersecurity. We have sales software clients. We even have a sports book, like a casino. That's like a tangential like client that we took on. So it's a variety of clients. So we need the learning curve of each industry. We need to make as short as possible so that we can make good content. So we have a 2-week onboarding period. This is where we spend like tons of time, like with the client. Like they just give us everything, like who you're targeting, why you're targeting them, where are they based, who are you building against? Like, can we say the F word? Can we curse? Like these things. And then we work from there to like really just study their ideal client. And then that 3rd week, we begin to create content, and they don't see content in their hands until week 4. So we spend a lot of time before giving them any content to ensure that like every piece of content they touch from us is like freaking great.
Awesome, man. So because I mean, the example you gave earlier where, you were doing outbound sales calls, cold calling, like for you to understand the nuances of that role, in particular in that industry, I mean, obviously you'd have to spend a fair amount of time in there. Do you ever come back to the customer and say, here's what we want to do, and they're like, oh, that's too edgy for us?
Oh yeah. That definitely happens. But I would actually say what happens more so is brands are like you can push this further, which is cool. So like one of our clients, Regal, it's AI voice agents. So like let's say you call American Express customer service, and like they first put a bot answering questions, like, press this for that. Regal, it seems like an actual person. You can have a full conversation with them. You can interrupt them. You can explain your situation, and they'll route it for you. So wait, where was I going with that?
You're talking about they want you to push it a little farther.
So we made gave them the first skit concepts, and then we recorded it, handed it over to Lex on their team, and he's like, dude, this is funny, but like, and I had one other concept on the doc that was way more edgy, and I explained, I'm like, yeah, we're not going to do this, we figured there's too much. He's like, no, do it, that one's hilarious. Awesome. And so we like to, like, I'm not an edgy person necessarily. Like, I'd say edgy people talk about those things like politics, religion, race, and like stuff like that, because they're trying to piss people off. We like to come from an angle of like evergreen humor that just like in industries will not change. Yeah. It's like things people experience at the mass level in these industries.
That's awesome. Tell me a little bit about your team, like how you guys collaborate.
Yeah. So right now we have, and this is like something we're early stage agency trying to figure out what is best. So we have 3 full-time people. All the full-time team members are on the ops side. So that's fulfillment. They have nothing to do with the content. Okay. It's, hey, when we onboard a client, is all their data in the right spot? Is this project going to be pacing at the right spot? Do we have content from clients or from creators at the right time? And then we have a bench of creators. So we have like 7 to 10 creators, all in different industries of expertise. So when we bring on a sales like software company, we'll plug in the one creator, Seamus, who has a sales background and actually does cold calling, and he'll be the creator plugged on this project. So that also helps with our ability to learn niche quicker. We even have like a creator who has a solar panel like background, like solar sales, and like, so she
make it funny.
Yeah, she's a beast. And so that's a very niche. We actually worked with a company that did like D2C solar sales. And like she worked on that project.
Wow.
But that's the current team. So we like to make our creators' lives as easy as possible and make sure they only do the fun stuff, which is creating. So all the project management side of things is on the full-time team. That's what they handle. But, yeah, that's the makeup of the team, a bench of creators. That our theory was that would be a better way to provide a higher quality service right now versus full-time creators.
Yeah,
we toyed around with the idea of bringing on 2 full-time creators. We just said, let's try the bench of creators first and see what happens.
Awesome. Well, it allows you to scale, according to your workflow and according to which industries those, your new projects are coming from as well. So it totally makes sense to me anyway. Let me ask you, the sales and marketing landscape has massively shifted over the last 10 years with, the different channels being clogged, so you can't call anybody anymore. You can't forget about faxes. You probably don't know what that is, but it was a thing for a while. And then there was this thing called email, and you can't email people because they're like, hey man, it's anti-spam filters and all that kind of stuff. And up until about 6 years ago, I was still having great results on LinkedIn, just doing direct messages, putting in saying, hey, here's who I am. Here's what I do and why it's relevant for you. And here's what I want. Right. And I'd send out 10 messages and I'd get 1 or 2 responses. It was amazing up until about 6 or 7 years ago. Now everybody's just flooded with stuff. And adding to that flood is, the AI automation tools. And, you mentioned some earlier. So how does that affect your industry or your services now, I guess the competitive landscape for you now, or the results that you're going to deliver to your customers? And how do you think that's going to play out down the road? I mean, are we going to have bots that can do humor? I mean, and create content, or how's that going to all play out?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Like as far as the bots being able to make banger content, like we do use we create ideation bots for all of our clients, and like that just helps creators like come up with ideas for these very niche industries. But like. Explain that, because I haven't heard that phrase before, an ideation bot. I guess I kind of figure it out as like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Give me like 5 different variants of this, something like that. Okay. Yeah. So every bot we build is built to just be an ideation partner. So it's not like use this template with this text. It's like you give them context on the situation and it'll be like, here's 5 ideas for copy and a vibe of the meme. And it's just like that initial spark. So I've been trying to have AI make high quality memes consistently since end of 2023. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
It's like takes way more time, and I don't even see the opportunity yet for where
Humor is so nuanced, and it changes because, I mean, you brought up earlier the CEO from I forget the company, they got the Coldplay concert, right? Yeah. And like, I mean, you got to be on top of things. That's so timely, topical, and it's so, oh my gosh, you'd have to, I don't know if AI could actually see the reaction to them, because that's the whole thing, right? Their reaction. And that's what everybody's talking about. Dude, if they would have just played it off, if you had the poker face, I mean, I've heard that conversation. I've been in restaurants and bars and I've heard the same conversation over and over again. And I'm like, oh, you guys talking about the Coldplay? It's like, yeah. It's like, yeah. So I don't know if AI can be at that level of understanding.
Yeah. Like when it comes to humor, like there's levels to it that are way deeper than just the text that, or like a description of what happened. Like there's just like this deep rooted human collective experience that adds to the humor. Like the context of being like, one of the reasons why it was so funny is all of us have been at a game and watched those Jumbotron moments. Like, it's hard to explain to AI, but like one thing that I do, like from a marketing and sales perspective, like for my agency, to cut through the fluff of like, all right, obviously I'm trying to get new business. I create content on LinkedIn and like people see that, but I want to do some cold outreach. I make it a point to just like the same way, right? I'm 24 and single. Like the same way, if I saw a cute girl walking by, I would not walk up to her and be like, hey, I'm Aidan. I'm 6'2". I have this much money in the bank account. I drive a Bugatti. Like, let's go on a date. Even if all of those things are true, she's going to be like, dude, what? Get out of my face. Like, what's wrong with you? Yeah. Instead, just like, hey, I'm Aidan. What's your name? I do that the same way on LinkedIn. It's like, how can I just stay in the game? And so I'll just message people, yo. Like I'll literally send a DM, yo. Or like, hey, who runs socials for your brand? Like, do you run socials for your brand? I'll even mislabel someone intentionally. So if I see a CMO at a company that has like 500 employees, I know that CMO does not run their company's social media accounts. So I'll DM them and I'll say, you run socials for insert company, right? They're going to want to correct me. They're a CMO.
No. That's 3 levels down, man. Come on. You must be talking about John over in so you're like, oh, thanks, John. Okay.
And like, I'm not trying to offend them. It's not offensive at all. It's just as much of like a splinter in their side where it's annoying. They have to acknowledge it. So that's something I've been using too. But that's how I cut through the noise of like the DMs and sales.
That's awesome, man. Let me ask you, for your, I mean, every successful CEO that I know, they have to take some of their time and energy and allocate it towards, understanding where their industry is going, how the competitive landscape is going to shift, play out, et cetera. And also on they have to spend some time on their personal and professional development. So I'm just curious with you because, you're a funny guy, and you probably never seen the movie Goodfellas, but there's a whole nother, have you seen that? No. With Ray Liotta and Joe Pesci, and he goes, you're a funny guy. And he goes, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm funny? And then everything gets really serious real quick. Anyway, so where do you allocate your time? Is it more on understanding the technical landscape, or is it more or in terms of the marketing landscape for your business, or is it understanding trends for B2B marketing, or is it on humor? Because humor is a skill too, right? I mean, the more you practice it and the more you study it, I think the better you can get.
So I go to industry conferences to just stay in touch with like what potential buyers are doing and like the overall landscape. So that's one thing. Like I used to live in Austin, Texas, and basically every single friend I made there I thought like I had my life together and was like pretty ambitious. Every single person there blew me out of the water. So I'm going to
stay away from Austin, man. I'll just feel like I have a big scarlet L on my forehead. It's like loser.
I literally, so every person I met there, I swear, was doing something that was bigger.
How'd your self-esteem survive that, man? I'm going back to Baltimore, man.
Yeah.
Mom, is my room still available?
Yeah, literally. So I spent a lot of time around those guys. Like I moved back to Baltimore, just wanted to be closer to family, but I was like, there's something there. Like I learned so much just by being in their presence.
Yeah.
So in 2 weeks, we're going to be together for 15 days. It's 7 of us. Every single person has their own company. And like, that's me. Like, that's like professional development for me. That's how I view that.
That's awesome.
Like I'm going to share as much information as possible with them because they're guys I know that don't get insecure by sharing numbers or opportunities.
And so what are you guys doing for 2 weeks? Just hanging out or?
So we are traveling. So we're meeting up with some people. We're going to Europe for a little bit. But we're all staying in the same spots, doing the same things. So how do you,
I'm just curious, this is totally personally, but how do you manage like, okay, yeah, I'm going to learn from these people versus I'm just going to hang out and drink beers every night. You know, I mean, like, do you guys have like a schedule or a program that you're following or what?
So for me personally, like I am very intrinsically motivated and I realize I have been blessed with the opportunity I have. And one of my biggest fears is not taking full advantage of it. So that's constantly burning in the back of my mind is like, I have to take full advantage of this opportunity I've been given. So any ounce of laziness or taking it for granted is like one of the biggest like no-nos of me personally. That doesn't mean like I don't have a good time. Like I still love to have a good time, but I'm very intrinsically motivated and my friends know that. So like, yes, we'll probably go out for drinks and everything, but like,
that's not the focus.
The stuff doesn't get done if I'm not there. Yeah. But there was a third part of your question. What was it?
Like the development. Go ahead. It's okay.
So looking forward, like I like to study the fundamental things that don't change as much over time.
Yeah.
So one of those things, like, yes, I run a business that's like humor led and like we make memes and skits. But the foundation of this business is humor. I believe humor is one of the most effective ways to connect with people and to sell to people without them realizing it, which is super effective. And so right now, memes and skits are just the best format to convey that humor.
Yeah.
So I study humor big time. So whether that's podcasts, even watching like specials of just like comedians and how they do pacing and how they walk you down somewhere and then just last second turn you somewhere. And like, how can I apply that to these most obscure industries? So I study humor a lot. I also just love watching funny stuff. That's my time on.
No, that's awesome, man. And that's the fundamentals in, it doesn't matter what you're doing, that it really is the key, you know. I don't care if you're training martial arts, any sport, any skill, business, whatever, because the fundamentals like typically will never change. And once you've built that foundation, then you can adapt to whatever way the wind's blowing, if you got strong fundamentals. The other thing about humor, a few years back, I decided I want to try stand up. You know, I can make my friends laugh and we hang out together. And I said, you know what? And everybody's like, yeah, dude, you should do stand up. You should stand up. And then I got up on stage and I realized, shit, this is hard, man. It's like, because it's very different from being in the moment with people you know versus getting up on stage and they're like, make me laugh. And I'm like, okay, you know. And so I kind of did a deep dive for about 2 years. One, just watching, reading the great artists. And then it's funny because you watch these professional comedians, and then I would come away from someone and go like, oh my God, they are so far. I can't even get on stage because they're on another planet, man. Yeah. But then you start going to open mics and you realize that, you know what, there's a lot of people out there that, you know, they struggle but they slowly get better. And then you can read books on like the techniques or the strategies of how humor actually works. And then you get into things like pacing and stuff like that. And it's actually pretty fascinating, man. I mean, and you watch people like, I don't know who your favorites are, but you know, you watch people like Louis C.K., Doug Stanhope, anybody, man. I mean, it's just when you see them when they're in the zone, it's like, wow, it's a whole nother level, man. So yeah, making people laugh is pretty cool.
Yeah, and like memes have kind of been grouped into like memes have become synonymous with like what's new, trending, boom, quick, like the quick hit. And I like our stance as an agency is we make evergreen content. So we want to make content that's just as valuable in 1 year as it is now. It makes everyone's lives easier. The marketing team's lives way more efficient. And like, as an agency, we're trying to get the person that hires us promoted. Yeah. And so we have taken an evergreen approach to something that has become synonymous with like, it's like TMZ. Like it's quick hit. The shelf life is dying quickly. So it's like bringing fundamentals to something that is inherently not like, it's like a new thing. It's not a fundamental piece of marketing. It's like this new piece. I also think like it's fun to be on the cutting edge of things and like trying these new things, but I appreciate and respect the things that have been and stayed relevant for 50, 80 years. Mm-hmm. So like Ogilvy, like those fundamentals, like trying to just bring those to like the cutting edge of content now. Like I think there's so much that's lost and people ignore, and they're just like, oh, we're in the world of AI, let's do this. So yeah, just talking out loud there.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that. Just a couple more questions here. So I noticed behind you, you have a book that says the yacht or a yacht or something. Are you a boater?
I'm not a boater. That's like a newspaper. It's Le Yacht. I got it on the street in France when I was out there. Like
it's a memento, man. It's a souvenir. Nice. Okay.
Worldly. No?
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I was thinking to myself, man. Look, look how worldly this guy is. I got to get me one of those, man.
Yeah, I got a Canada shirt on.
There you go, man. Yeah. Well, let me maybe final question here. Well, one more in the business, one more personal. What's your typical engagement model? I mean, you can share as much as you want to share with the audience.
Yeah. So typical engagement model, we start on a 3-month project. Yeah. And we have a 2-week onboarding period, and then we deliver 5 batches of content. We set a set number of deliverables. So that's a number of pieces of content we're going to deliver over that 3 months. And retainers go anywhere from 3 to upwards of 10K a month. Mm-hmm. And then usually after that 3 months, our team decides like, hey, like, was this a fun engagement for us? Like, yes, we'd love to work with you guys more. And then they decide, did we see the results we wanted to see? And usually we sign a 6 or 12-month agreement after that. Awesome. But we aren't treated as a social media agency. We're more treated as a creative agency. And like I call us a creative humor agency. So we're not doing as much posting and like community management that social media agencies would do.
Well, you said you had an operations team though. I mean, so I was thinking the operations team that they would manage like the posting, things like that. They would kind of automate that, or is that you push that back to the customer and say, hey, we've created the content for you. Here's our recommendations in terms of when and how you post it, things like that. But it's up to you. Yeah.
The ops team is more like the tools that we use to make sure, like we use Airtable. And so like I can go into Airtable and see any of our projects and see where they're at, like in the project, how many pieces of content we've delivered, how many we have to deliver, who the point of contact is for my team.
Gotcha.
And then like all the emails of the clients, just so that like if I'm out for a day, like Shiv on our team can go in and be like, oh, okay, so if something's missing for Apollo, let me message Katie, like here's her contact information, like, and explain the situation. So, and they do have, like, we have 1 or 2 clients where we do post content. Yeah. And like they're involved in that, like our ops team is involved in that, but that's not a part of our core offer.
Cool. Now the personal question, because I saw it in a couple of your posts. How did you lose $500,000 in crypto? Yeah. I mean, because it could go many ways, right? I mean, I'm thinking like, was it on his hard disk and he threw it into the dump, which that guy did? Yeah. Was it, did he just try to double down on something, lose it? I lost quite a bit. The way I feel I lost it was because I sold Bitcoin too early. And if I would have held on to it, so to me, that's still a loss, even though that just shows something about my mentality because it was a gain. It was a massive gain. But if I would have held on to it. So tell me the story, man.
So this was in between my sophomore and junior year of college. There was this guy that I knew that had an agency, and he hired me, and the agency was contracted for this crypto project. And I'm not going to name the crypto project because screw them, but I was tasked to create content about this crypto project and talk about how it was different, boom, boom, boom. And they paid me in the coin. And so like, I actually didn't have to invest anything other than my time. And so I got paid in the coin. And when the coin launched, it went nuclear.
Yeah.
And I then was like I'm freaking rolling in it. And it got up to like, I don't even know what the price per coin was, but I had over $500,000 in the crypto wallet and could have sold it. I gave some coins to my buddies and told them not to sell it. But of course they immediately sold it, bought Xboxes, some TVs. And within like 2 months, the project absolutely folded. It went from like whatever it was, like $100 per $100 to like 50 cents. I lost all the money. Luckily, sadly too, my parents invested some money. My dad lost a few dollars, but with a little bit, I think I might have had like $250 left over from what was 500K. I traded that back up to the full amount my dad invested originally and gave it to him for his birthday last year.
Oh man, that's nice. Yeah.
He's even.
Yeah, that's a big life lesson there. And it's always nice to take something off the table, but hindsight's 2020, and I can imagine like, look at this. If I just hold on for another month or two, So, yeah.
I literally have a vivid picture in my mind. I was sitting in the car that my parents so nicely let me use through college, which was a 2009 Toyota Camry, looking at this account with my girlfriend at the time, and I'm just like, oh my God, I need to get a crazy car. Like this is insane. And like finger hovering over selling at least a portion of it. Never did. Was like ride or die, like YOLO. But I was 21. Like honestly, I'm so grateful for the experience because now this is not financial advice. I just do S&P 500 like on autopilot and don't even think about it.
Yeah, no, that's a good life lesson, a good takeaway from that, and also some good follow-up advice in terms of just let it ride, man, in terms of S&P or something like that. Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, hey, Aidan, really enjoyed this conversation. You got a lot of energy. You're a funny guy. Don't take that the wrong way. And I will get this. Thanks so much for coming on the Grow Fast podcast.
Thank you for having me. I seriously appreciate it.
Cheers.